Okay, today we're going to be talking about finding the percent of a number. And we're going to do that using two methods. The first is going to be proportions. So we know all about solving proportions from Module 1. We are going to be setting up a proportion that looks like this. So we're going to be setting the part over the whole equal to the percent out of 100. So let's see what this looks like with the sentence below. It says 30 is 75% of 40. The easiest number to put in our proportion is the one that has the percent sign. That goes above 100. The next easiest is going to be the whole. The whole is what you're finding the percent of, and that goes in the denominator here. And finally, the part is what you get when you find the percent of the whole, and that goes in the numerator. So there is a shortcut that you may have heard in the past. It's not very mathematical, but it helps you remember. We can think of this proportion as the is over of equals the percent over 100. The percent, of course, is always going to be that number that has the percent sign on it, but you can see, let me erase my outlines here. You can see that 30 is next to the word is, and that goes in the numerator. And 40 is next to the word of, and that goes in the denominator. All right, so how do we solve percent proportions? Well, just like the way we solved regular proportions, they're going to give us all the numbers we need except for one, and the one they don't give us is the one we're looking for or solving for. So let's set up a percent proportion from problem number 1. It says, what is 12, oh, whoops, sometimes it does that, and I don't know why. Okay, what is 12% of 85? So remember, we are doing, let's set it up like this, is over of equals the percent over 100. So for all of these problems, you're going to start by putting a proportion down, right? An empty proportion. This is always, always, always 100. Then look and see if they gave you the percent. They did. It's 12%. So now I just have to decide if that 85 is the is, or if it's the of, or if it's the part or the whole. Since it's next to the of, that goes in the denominator. That means it's the whole. We don't know what the is. In fact, it actually says what is. And anytime you see that what, that's what you're looking for. And you can use a variable to represent the thing that you don't know. Now, just like we learned before, we're going to do cross products. We're going to do the product that has the x on the left side of the equation, so 100x over here, and then 12 times 85 over here. And then you can use a calculator. 12 times 85 is going to be 1020. And then if you'll remember, to solve a one-step equation with multiplication, we do the inverse operation, which is divide, and x is going to be equal to 10.2. And that's your answer. Let's try another one. 16 is what percent of 40? Oh my goodness, there it goes again. All right. Come on. Why isn't it writing? Uh-oh. What have I done? Remember, I never start over. I don't have time for that. We keep going. If the dog barks or I make a mistake, we keep going. All right, I'm doing my is over of equals the percent over 100. So this is always 100, and then we look for the number with the percent. In this problem, 16 is what percent of 40. They didn't give us the percent. It actually says what percent. So that's the variable. That's the thing I don't know. And then it says of 40. So here's my of. And it says 16 is. So here's my is. Now I'm going to use cross products. 40 times x equals 16 times 100 So 40x equals 1600. Divide both sides by 40. And remember, you're just showing your work. You can use a calculator if you need to. So 40 times 40 is 1600. So x is going to be 40. And that's your answer. Let's do another one here. We're doing is over of equals percent over 100. The number with the percent sign goes above 100. 45 is the is. And we don't know what the of is. It literally says of what number. So the variable will go down there. Then we're going to do cross products. We're going to do the one with the variable first. I really wanted that to be a different color. So we have 15 times x, and then 45 times 100. We'll divide both sides by 15. And x is going to be 300 because 15 goes into 45 3 times. All right, let's use this percent proportion to solve a word problem. It says 18 out of 32 students earned a B on the last test. What percent of the students earned a B? Let's set up our proportion. We're going to put our percent over 100, but we don't know the percent. So we know this is our x. Now we just have to place the 18 and the 32. So we know that 18 is a certain percent of 32. And you can use that clue of the word of to place your 32 down here. But we also know that 18 is part of all of the students, right? And 32 is the whole class, the whole group of students. So you can also think of it as part over whole. All right, let's do 32 times x. Whoops, I forgot the 2. Equals 1800. And we'll divide both sides by 32. And 1800 divided by 32 is, whoops, divided by 32 is 56.25%. That makes sense, right? It's just a little bit more than half, so it should be a little bit more than 50%. All right, so that's finding percent of a number using proportions. Now, let's find the percent of a number using my favorite method, the equation. So you're literally going to write, try to move this over, and for some reason it's not working for me. Oh, I'll go like that. So you're just going to write it the way it sounds, and make sure that the percent is always written as a decimal. And if you need to take a percent sign off, you write it as a decimal by dividing it by 100. So I'm just going to translate this sentence. 30 is, and is an equal sign, 75% written as a decimal. Of in math means multiply, and then I have 40. So this says 30 is 75% of 40. So I'm going to take this problem right here, number 1. I'm going to make an equation out of what it says. Anytime you see the word what, that's your variable. Is an equal sign. 12% written like a decimal means I need to divide 12 by 100, which makes it 0.12. Of in math means multiply, and I'm going to use parentheses for multiplying. I'm not going to use a multiplication symbol anymore because it looks like a variable x, right? I'm not even really going to use the dot because the dot could be confused with a decimal. I really like the parentheses. Look how easy this is. I can put in my calculator 0.12 times 85, and I get the answer 10.2. If that sounds familiar, that's because that's the same problem we did with the proportion. Look how much less work it was with an equation. I love the equation method. You can use either as long as you show your work, but the equation method is going to be easier to set up in your head if you're actually out in a store and less work to show on paper. Let's try the next one. Translating this into an equation. 16 is an equal sign. what percent means X, any variable you want, right? Times, of means times 40. I might rewrite this with the 40 in front of the X. It just looks better. And then since X is being multiplied by 40, the opposite is to divide by 40. So in my calculator, I'm going to do 16 divided by 40. And I got 0.4. So why is this not matching up with my answer over here? Yikes. I'm not sure why it does that, but I'm not stopping. I need to click out of the box and then it works. So it's not the same as over here, but that's because we need to make it a percent. And remember, to make something a percent, when we want to put, oops, I just used the multiplication symbol. If we want to make it a percent, add a percent sign on, we need to multiply by 100. So when we take a percent sign off, we divide by 100. When we put a percent sign on, we multiply by 100. All right, let's make an equation for number 3. 45 is 15% as a decimal. I divided by 100. Of means multiply. What number is a variable? Since X is being multiplied by 0.15, I'm going to divide both sides by 0.15, and I get 300. Look, same thing I got over here, but much less work. All right, last problem. A word problem. Last September, 40% of the days were cloudy. How many days were cloudy last September? Well, first of all, how many days are in September? 30. So I want to see what is 40% of 30, right? What is 40% of 30? And then I'm just going to put that in my calculator. 0.4 times 30 is 12. So 12 days. Whoops. Just want to put my label on. It's not letting me, but 12 days, and then we're done with these notes. It's freaking out. All right, 12 days, but we got through the notes. So thanks for watching.